just because you can do something with AI
Yeah.
doesn't mean you should do something with AI.
The Signal. You are listening to The Signal.
The Signal.
Cutting through the noise.
You are listening to The Signal.
Where we've seen newsrooms and organizations succeed is because they've grounded what they're trying to do in a real need or a real pain point. And it can be a real need for their audience, or it can be a real need for some internal stakeholders. And where we've seen newsrooms struggle is somebody one day has had an idea that sounds really good and they're really bought into it, and then they come in and they spend ages trying to build it and test it and validate it, and ultimately, because you're not able to match that thing with something that a person actually wants, whether it's internal or external, it doesn't really go anywhere. So I think that this is will be an ongoing, maybe will even become more tempting as the technology kind of enhances what we're able to do. Make sure you're building stuff and adopting stuff that actually people need. A person has to need it.
And doesn't already exist. Because we've seen lots of people build the same, or think about building, the same translation tool or the same whatever tool. And quite a lot of the time, we've either seen it not work because it's really difficult, or we've seen it work so much better elsewhere because someone else has built it and it's commercially available and it's not very much money. And actually, you can just buy it off the shelf and use it and focus on something that you can only use your own data for example. Like what is the reason why you are building something? It's got to be because it doesn't already exist, or you can do it better, or you need the security of your closed system. But yeah, we've seen people build things that exist a lot.
Spell checkers, yeah.
Or build something that they spend a long time building it, and then someone builds it quicker. So they weren't building it at the start, but it's been built before they've finished, which is a real shame. And I think something that organizations need to focus on, and that's why we are starting to talk now more about organizational adoption, is that multiple parts of the organization need to be involved. And so the people in the organization who are responsible for future-proofing and looking to kind of future like technological redundancies need to be involved. The more voices you have in your AI adoption within your organization, the better chance you've got of really utilizing your time and resources and not building something that doesn't meet a need or has been done before.
So here's the area where I don't think there's enough exploration, and it is in the question of where our audience is going to be consuming news, in how and when and what in 3 years' time. So a lot of what we've been the newsrooms have been working on, which is understandable and justifiable and exciting, has been on how do we do the thing that we've been doing for the past 5 years more efficiently, or how do we adapt it slightly? I think there's a much bigger question facing us, which is where our audience is going to be in the future.
I completely agree. A lot of the repurposing of content is so that you can push content out onto platforms that you weren't on before, but in the same way that is currently being done on your existing platforms. Whereas actually there's so much more scope to reimagine how content can be distributed, displayed, monetized, and AI does provide some of the solutions and for that, some of the answers for that, but it requires a different type of creative thinking and that kind of future casting view. Not how will our audiences consume our content if we keep giving them what they want based on today for the next 2 years, but it's how our audience tastes changing and where will they be, and how do we can keep producing the content that we need for those platforms right now, but that is actually what frees us up to focus on what comes next. So what's the 2-year cycle? We often think about what's coming up in 2 years. we could talk always about what we think's coming up in 2 years. I just to go to one thing, which is this kind of idea of live streaming coming back as a really useful tool for trust. How do you use AI to power a live streaming news video channel with all of the spokes that have to come off that in terms of audience engagement, kind of simultaneous content for people to read along with, to be produced, to be able to dive into? How do you feed that into an archive? Like how do you reimagine a business model? That's not the one thing that people should be doing, but it's that type of thing is reimagining what you could never have imagined by previously.
Yeah, I was preparing for a talk recently and I was looking back at when was the first time I kind of remember encountering OpenAI and GPT, and I found this GIF that I'd made for a GIF. What's Signal style?
I'm not getting
GIF.
Involved. Yeah.
I found this GIF I'd made in 2020 of GPT-2, and I asked it what does AI mean for the future of journalism? But if I think about how that's only almost 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, where we were then to where we are now, I could never have imagined now that piece of technology basically would have advanced to be enabling not just the change in journalism that it's enabling right now, or enabling is maybe a positivist is causing, let alone the change in society. So it's really hard to imagine what's going to be in 5 years. But I think if we're only focused on the kind of efficiency side and we don't think a little bit more creatively, we're going to come back to glasses again. I know it. But brass tacks.
Yeah.
Okay, we are out of time. Thank you so much for listening. Do follow us and subscribe to get show notes. We're going to be sharing links and more information on everything that we've talked about this week. And we will see you next time.
For more information on who we are and what we do, as well as what we're thinking about and who we're talking to, subscribe to our newsletter and find us on YouTube. All the details are in the show notes. Thanks for listening. We do want to hear from you, so please leave us a comment and share your thoughts and suggestions on The Signal on YouTube, Apple and Spotify.